The guy, the code guy. Welcome to the live stream. Yo, what's up? Mm. Is my voice is clear? I mean, yeah, mic is on. So, as a quick introduction, I just wanted to, um, kind of describe my agenda for today. Is We have a bug report about the refactor branch that we are working on, and we have a function which is a global function include, and that needs to be either namespaced or it must be either modularized. So I decided to just completely remove it. So for today's to do for today's we have we have two things to do. um, I'm rewriting the plugin. I'm rewriting the fyler plugin to resolve bugs and have better user experiences. So today we have two tasks to finish. First is to remove the global include function, and the second one is to implement the follow current file feature. So these are the two motives for this live stream. Hopefully we can complete it. So fyler.lua. There you go. And so this is done. This is done. This is done. This is already lazy loaded, so we don't have to do anything. And let's go. Should we do the lazy loading thing here? I think we should do that like this. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to the next one, which is this one. FS module. Okay, we can lazy load this thing as well, like here. It's not a problem. Yeah, it's fine. Now we have a cache entry. It has to be on the top, so we can't lazy load this thing. Um, then we have nothing. This is also lazy loaded, so no problems there. These are classes. I don't have any problems with lib functions. Like if there is a lib, it can resides on the top level. It's not a big deal. Okay. Then we have this thing, a finder function. Where is this thing used? It's inside it, right? We can move everything down here, like inside of, like we can import this thing here instead of the top. In that way, we're only going to lazy load things when needed. And let's open up. This is already lazy loaded, so it's not a problem. And same thing here. I guess for actions, we can just stick to whatever we have. And same for here. This is a state. If I... No, it's fine. If I go here... anyways, we have to, like at the time of calling the new function, we also have to include these, so that's fine. Okay, that's it. If I find anything which can be lazy loaded, I can convert that in future, but for now, it's fine, I guess. So we have this, this. Do we have differences? Diff view close. Um, let's take the differences here and hmm. Include function. Wasn't problems. Wasn't problems. European interoperable skills. It wasn't very in. What's up? Okay, so let's mark this thing as completed. Then if I restart NeoVim and go, let me just if I go here, open it up, like if I try to use include, yeah, this is not recognizable because we remove something like foobar is equals to include. Yeah, we don't have auto completion. That's great. Okay, so how many commits we have? I have quite a few about it. Net RWA checking. Okay, that's fine. Range. We have to do something about range, but not. It's not for the topic. Like it's not the today's topic. So let's move on to um, buffer. Not buffer. It's finder. But first, we have to make something which is in the state. So in state, we have to make one follow function which will going to follow a particular path, something like here. So let's implement this function. So state follow. So you provide a path here, and it's in it's an asynchronous function, so it will going to take and call back as an argument. Let's call it just CB, and let's go define the path as a string, and the callback parameter will be fun ID, and that ID could be an integer or it could be a nil. That's fine. Now it's time to split out the function. Okay. So split out the path. First, let's assert we have a path. Expected path dot nil, something like this. And callback function is also necessary, but it's fine. Let's provide it. Expected function dot nil. Now it's time to just split the paths. So split a path. For now, I'm just going to return a 1 as the determined ID of the target, and then in the finder we have here buff name vim.fn.buff name, this thing, and if buff name length is greater than 0, then we're gonna call we're going to call instance.state follow the buff name, but actually this time it will be a POSIX notation. Yeah, this has to be a POSIX notation. So one thing we can do is either we can just reassign the POSIX notation here, which is fs dot os to POSIX, and fs dot, let's make that absolute path as well. And there is the path name. Then we have a function, and that function takes an ID, and let's print that ID. And target ID to string ID. Let's call it like that. And if I go here, do readme, do I not have readme? Okay, I deleted the readme. It's kind of a bummer, but let's go make file. And if I open it, so we get a target ID 1, which is expected, not a problem. Then let's complete this state. Let's complete this function. Okay, so let me just uh, get these split paths here. If I go to, let's just go with the make file, so that every time I restart, it opens the file automatically. Let's open it, and we have a splitted path, which is correct. Now, there is one more thing that I have to validate, which is the dot self dot try dot root, because there is one thing. Okay, so we have children's. This is the correct structure. I don't have any problems with it. Or maybe I do have problems with it. Let's go to finder init, and at the time of dispatching, we should just want a dispatch refresh, and here in we can self.state.try.root. Let's try to debug, restart with this. Okay, this structure is correct. This is the exact thing that I want. Now let's go to state. So here we have split path. Now we have to go through each of the wait just a minute. We have a POSIX notation. POSIX notation. The thing is, I have to first convert it into the relative path. So rel path is equals to bin.fs.rel path sub.root path, and then we have to provide the path itself, and that could be a nil value like this. So we're going to assert things. Let's assert here rel path unexpected error with rel path. Okay, fine. While converting to relative path, something like this. So now that we have the relative path, we can pass it as it is, and this time we will get a relative path. Let's debug this thing on split path. Split path like this, and let's restart, and here we have the relative path segments, and here let's go and let's traverse all the way through. And how are we going to expand all of the nodes? I do want to do this iteratively, but I think recursive approach will be much easier, I guess. Let's try to implement a function which will be a recursive function, and How did we do that before? Let me just go through the um, what was the file name? Maybe it's state, not it's files. Yeah, it's files. So there was a function which is follow or maybe navigate. There was a function, yeah, there was a navigate function, and what we were doing before, we are processing the segments. So there was a function, and we passing the index. Okay, that's fine. So we are passing the node. So okay, and this is a recursive function, and this is the next node. So it's fine, I guess. So um, so this recursive function will be the same thing, I guess. Um, okay, so let's mark as an index idx. So we have an index and we have a node. Let's give the parameters of it will be an integer, and that will be a node, which is the fyler.try node. Yeah, that one. And that recursive function, we have to call this recursive function at the end like this with the index 1 and the node self.try.root, something like this. Yeah, well, that makes sense. So when we passing the current node, so we are passing the entire tree, and that tree, okay, so instead of passing the root, we could pass a try like this. This is much more convenient because we have some methods like if I go to struct and try, this try contains a walk function, a delete function, like there are multiple helper function which can be useful. So what to do now? Let's remove this callback, we don't need it. Currently we have to recurse, I like we have to call each of the node. So first thing first, the first index. So first, like the name, what was the thing? Yeah, first we have to check whether we are exceeding the limit or not. So if idx is greater than these number of split paths, like the count of the split path, then we simply going to return. But it's not just a simple return, we have to call back things, like we didn't find anything, like with a nil value. I believe there was also a nil thing here. Yeah, we have a nil value like this. That's fine. Now, let's assume we have a valid index. Now what? I think we have to grab the name of that node, or you can say segment, split segment, and that segment will be split path of at idx position. And now maybe I'm directly using this thing as it is at the tree node or something. Okay, I'm checking the entry in the store, and if that entry is a directory, then we proceed accordingly. And if it is not, then we just provide the nil value. Okay, fine. So let's get the entry, segment entry. So segment entry will be store.get, store.get. The key will be, come on, what will be the key? What was that before? Oh, the current node. Hmm. Hmm. We get this current node. I think this is a old logic. This will not going to work in this new architecture. Like the concept is kind of new for this new approach. So let me redesign thing by myself. Okay, so what do we need? We have to search the equivalent. Um, we have to search the equivalent children, right? That's the thing that we have to do. Right, so instead we should provide the root as well. So it will be a try node, and that node, we don't need this entry right here. So we have a segment, right? Then, so we have, do we have a children related to it? A child? Child will be root or node dot children of these of this segment. I mean, do we have that? Let's just check this thing out. Like child. This should return nil, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a nil value as expected, because the tree is not updated yet. So now we have to update the tree in order to, yeah, in order to do that. Okay, wait just a minute. So if we are inside any directory, because this node has to be a directory, like this node has to be a directory, and if it is a directory, that that means it also has a value. So if node dot value, I mean, if we don't have a value inside the node, then we just simply we have to update the node. And after updating the node, what do we have? This is a callback which fires up after updating the tree. So after updating the tree, we have to do this like so. So if we don't have any node value, but if we do have, then we don't need to do any of this thing. Let's just simply go into the else block, and we can simply get ourselves this thing. Okay, let's just assume we don't have any node value and we are updating this thing. So first of all, let's mark this as a to yet to be completed, something. And now let's just try this thing out. I'm not sure. Let's just try this thing out. Okay, so we have a table because I forgot to print this thing with a correct one. So now we have a value. That's fine. So that means let's just do the node thing. Yeah, this is the updated node and it is fine. So now that we have the tree and we have a value like this node is a value, and this node doesn't have any childrens, which do make sense. So now we can get a child entry. Yeah, a child entry from store dot get child dot value. And this time let's try to print this thing as it is. Yo, now we have ID and we have path in the POSIX notation, and the type is file. Now there is one thing that we have to do, that if um, if child dot entry dot ID, not ID, if idx is equals to split path, then we just simply can return the value here as child entry dot ID, and simply we can fall back from here. But if we didn't completed the search, then we have to keep moving forward, right? If that's not the case, so in the else statement we have a recursive call to idx plus 1, and the next node will be the child itself. How about it? Something like that. And for the case if we don't let's just call this thing in here, like why we are overcomplicated things. Okay, now if we do have a value, wait just a minute. So if we do have a value, we can just simply grab the exact thing right here. Yeah, the exact thing. This is the exact thing like here. So we can refactor out this part as well. That makes sense. So let's call this function fx, and what this function is doing actually, it's giving up the callback. Let's refactor this thing out here, like here. So what is missing? There is two things which are missing. One is idx and other one is node. Same arguments, and that will be fx of idx and node itself. Then we have a recursive function here. I don't like this approach. Like, definitely not. We are doing this thing, and otherwise we are doing fx like that. Let's say if things works. If I go to Finder and try to get the ID, will that work? We got 13. Is that a correct thing? Yeah, makefile does have a value 13. Let's do this, and this time I'm gonna go for a deeper uh, directory like fyler lib, and we have a component, and this time the Lua callback doesn't work because we don't have any type null safety. We are not checking here. Okay. If we don't have any children related to this, that simply if not child, then just simply do a callback with a nil value, return, and something like this. So we don't have any values for this if we don't have child. So first we have a recursive function. So what are we doing here? We are first checking, did we pass the length of split path? And if we did and haven't found anything, how did we counter this then? So this is on navigate. We did return this thing, and yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, isn't it? I mean, it does make sense. If we exceeded the length of this splitted path, that means we didn't find anything. So we can return the nil value. Then we have a case in which we have this thing. If we find the node value, which means that part is updated, but if it is not updated, then we have to update it. The thing is, we have to update it regardlessly. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We have to update this thing regardlessly because we don't have any watcher, file system watcher at this point. So it doesn't matter. We will always going to update this thing. No problem. Let's try to do that again. Still we have a nil value, but this time let's debug this thing out again. So we have an fx, And this time we don't need to, okay, let's remove this logic here, like this. I know this is not that optimized, but we can care about the optimization later. It's not a big deal. So what are we doing here? We are updating every single time we are visiting the... Okay, there is one problem though. We are not expanding anything. That's why we didn't find anything. So we have to mark the... Yeah, we have to mark this node as expanded as well. So where should be the logic about expandation? Uh, if if node dot value, or if node dot, okay, if node dot value, then we have to, if we have a node value, we are updating it regardlessly, right? So self dot cache merge, and how we are using the cache. So okay, it's according to the path. So we have a value, which means node entry will be store.get node.value like this, and node entry dot path, that's it, that path, and we have to expanded equals to true. That's fine if we do have a node value. But there is one more thing. If we only going to do this if the node entry type is a directory. How about this? Okay, let's try this thing again, and this time it should work. So we have a target ID 32. Yeah, that is amazing actually. If I refresh with Control R, we have the tree open. That makes a lot of sense. But there is one more thing that look, if the ID is equals to the length of split path, then we have reached the target. But let's say if we did reach it, it's not a problem. But if we didn't reach it, okay, so there is one more edge case, which is child entry dot type. No, we are handling this thing here. So if we make a call for a non-directory node like this one, then we have this thing here. Else we return something like this. No, it's not this. We can return from it. Yeah. Or we can do a negation statement like here, here, or maybe here, like this. Much better. Okay, let's just use that operator. I don't like this operator. Why we don't have a better not equal to operator? Like, what is the problem with this one? Why this thing is not working in Lua? Lua has to change a little bit, I guess. That's why I prefer this syntax over that tilde. Now, if I go, wait just a minute, let's go to Finder, and in Finder, we have this thing. So we can refresh things here. Let's only refresh things at the time of callback. So this is here, like this. So we're only going to refresh things when we got this follow thing to complete. Maybe this thing will going to fail. No, it's working. And if I go to set conceal level to 0, we have 32 ID. And this is the component file. That is actually the correct thing. And now there is one thing, like if we do have the ID, if let's say if we don't have the ID, then we can return it from here. And before returning it, we have to refresh things. And but if we do have ID, we're still going to refresh things. But this time we have a callback. And with this callback, we have one thing which is in the action search. So we have these two lines. We're going to paste those two lines here. And there we go. We're going to focus the cursor on that particular ID, and that thing will going to work. I mean, I suppose it's going to work. And it doesn't work. I wonder why. Okay, if not ID, maybe we need to schedule wrap this thing fn dot schedule dot schedule. What is this thing? Schedule wrap. This time it's not working as well. Yep, 32. Then what's the problem? This function is not called at all. I wonder why. Okay, this is okay, but for some reason that callback never get a chance to invoke. for some weird reasons. We have action, we have a date schedule. It's not update. If that happens, m.f.if nil. If it is nil, then it has to be a true value, I suppose. We will going to do this. Otherwise, we only going to render things without any problems. Like here, we only going to render things out. That makes a lot of sense. Let's try to do again. Yeah, it's still not working. Okay, because I have to also mention things here as well, which is update equals false. Okay, still not working. ID. Yeah, it's not working. And we have action, and here without update. Okay, so we are not calling the without update thing at all. So finder init Why is this thing working? Okay, it's not. It's not anymore. So instead, I have to paste this thing here, and this time it will work. It will going to work like this. So instead, like that. So finder init, instead of calling this thing from here, we have to provide it like that. And this time, let's call this thing. And this time, this should work. No, it's not working. Dev icons not found. Okay, that's a classic issue. That means we have to do Windows scheduling. Dot schedule wrap. There it is. Let's try it this time. And it's working this time. Okay, fine. It is working. So if I try to go in a different directory, suppose it's a bridge, and the file bridge, and it focuses this file without any problems. Okay, let's clean this thing up. Okay, let's clean this thing off with how we can clean this thing up. So there is one more thing. We have an option for follow current file. We don't have it. And let me just sort those things out first. Let's do this, and then it's fine. Let's move this thing down. UI. Okay, it's fine. Focus follow current file. Follow current file is equals to true. And let's go here. We can do like Um, config dot data, like if buffers dot, we have options as well. So wait just a minute. So we have so if ops dot follow current file, then we do this. Okay, that's working. So if it is set, only then we going to follow this thing. Otherwise, we will not. So we have a schedule function, and let's define a function here. Um, focus um, path ID or focus entry. It will be a dot schedule wrap function, and let's grab this thing, the whole thing, put it right here, and instead of passing as it is, let's pass the focus entry. Okay, so that will, there's the ID, something like that. There is one problem though. Like if there is no ID here, we can simply just do this here and do end. And we don't need this else statement or if statement. We can just simply refresh the whole buffer. But if we do have ID, okay. So if we do have ID, then we going to focus that thing. Okay, that's fine. There it is. All right, then will that work again? It's working, and now we have to handle the another case, which is this one. So if let's say it is not like follow current file is not set it up, then we just simply refresh the page. So let's try this thing. Let's go to configuration of fyler.nvim, and okay, we have a problem. I guess that is expected. State 64 converting to real path. Expect unexpected error while converting to real path. Okay, got it. So if I go to state.lua, we have unexpected error for real path. All right, so instead of this, if not rel path, then just simply return, but first return a nil value here and do this, something like that, and that should do the trick. Let's go here, let's do this. This time it's not working, it's without update. Okay, that is fine. Now what else we have? Okay, let's go here and we have to set it up this thing to false. So instead of doing this thing here, let's do fyler open and follow current file false, like this. So it doesn't follow the file. Let's refresh this again, and we have this thing set it up to true, and it focuses up. Okay, that makes complete sense now. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Let me just refresh the chat one more time, because it might be a possibility that your chat could be missed, because there was a problem back then in one of my previous streams that chat wasn't visible before. I can refactor this thing further if I want to, but let's just complete the thing first. So let's go to auto commands, the global auto command, and we have to create another auto command, a conditional auto command, which is like here. And instead of this, we use follow current file. That's all. And vim.create auto command, and this will be a buff enter event auto command, and auto group, or you can say group will be auto group. Where is this? Oh, group. And that auto group like we have to also provide the pattern, and that pattern will be everything. And let's have a callback. And now we have to execute some auto commands like exec. This is a different approach that we did use in the previous code base. This one is much better and optimized. So what we are doing, we are listening to a single event and we are broadcasting this to a particular pattern in a predefined user command, which is the pattern. What should we name this pattern? Okay, let's call it follow current file pattern, something like this. Like for now, it's fine. And let's provide the data as args, like so. Now, we have to do one more thing here. At onShow function, like at the time of onShow, after setting up the mappings, we also have to set it up one more thing, like if ops dot follow. Wait just a minute. We can do this thing here as well, like vim dot create dot auto command, and that will be a user-based auto command, which will be in the group of like group is equals to serve dot, or you can say instance dot auto group. Do we have any auto group? Create namespace, but we don't have auto groups. Oh, well, that's a shame. Create all group. Yeah, we don't have anything like that. So let's create auto group, something like this. So this is the auto group, and create a group, and auto group. Something like that. Let's come into this like this, and clear to true. There's one more thing in the type annotations. In type annotations, we have buffer, like fyler.buffer construction ops, but we have alongside with the namespace, we have auto group. Auto group will be same as this. It will not be a nil value, neither the namespace. Let's sort this thing out. That's fine. Let's remove thing from here. Instant.auto group. Actually, let's go here in the auto CMD, and let's change it from all group to auto group as well for maintaining the consistency. This is the group, and let's catch a pattern, and that pattern will be that pattern will be follow current file, and callback will be as this. So what we have to do about it? Let's try to do okay, we can also create a action about this thing. Like let's go into finder, because user can also map this action and only focuses file whenever they want to, instead of auto focusing. So let's wrap this function here. This is the function. This will be the thing, I guess. So alongside the dispatch refresh, we also have a focus m dot follow path something like this. I can rename this thing later, but for now, let's just complete this thing. So this is that. And for arguments, we have args equals to null safety args.buff name. And that thing actually, let's add an assertion about buff name. If expected string dot nil, something like this. Then we have self again, and we have self again here. We have args dot buff name. Then we have self, not self, like this. And that should do it. Let's close this thing, and I guess that should do the trick, I suppose. In that way, we can also refactor this function later if we want. So if we have this thing, let's do self.get action. Get action. We have follow path, a follow path, and we also have to provide the actually it's a path, it's not a buffer name. So vim.fn.buff name, this like that. So instead we have like this, and in action we have, instead of buff name, let's rename it to path, like the path that you want to follow. And let's try this thing out. Okay, it's not working at all. But why is that? Let's just debug things out again. Oh, because we haven't called this function. We also have to add a call statement. Okay, now it's working. Fine. That is fine. So we have arguments here, and we can instance.get action follow path. A path is equal to args.file, I believe, like this. And there is one more thing that we can do here in the actions. Instead of asserting, we have args.path. Like if not args.path, then instead of error out, we could provide like we could refresh things, get action, dispatch, refresh, and it will do the trick like this. And obviously we have to return from here as well, like so. Same thing, if that path is equals to 0, we could just simply return early, and we don't need this. So much less nesting. Args.path args.path is equals to 0. So this here we can combine these two things. What else we can do? I think there's nothing else. I believe so. Okay, so we can refactor this function out as well, because that function used okay, go to id, go to entry, or move cursor to id with id. Let's just do move cursor. Let's just leave it like this. I don't have any problems with that. Okay, just give me a minute. All right, so I think everything's working pretty fast. Let's try to set redraw redraw debug to compositor, and let's add a write delay as well. Let's say 40 milliseconds, and this time let's try to open it. So this is the first render, this is the second render, and it immediately, okay, it immediately focuses your cursor. So everything is fully optimized. We are not doing anything extra. Yeah, we are not rendering um, unnecessarily. So we are not unnecessarily re-rendering. That's a good thing. That's all. Now there is one last puzzle piece that we have to do, which is, no, I think we did it already. Let's just test that functionality. So let's open Fyler. Fyler kind split leftmost. So this is the leftmost view. Now, if I open a file like makefile, it's not focusing it. I wonder why. Because in auto commands, I didn't, okay, mention it. So the path will be args.file, I believe, and we have finder in it, and instead we could use the path argument, or we can just simply, hi Silence, welcome to the live stream. Let's just pass the arguments as it is. Let's go here, and okay, we have to call this action as well, like this. And let's try to do that thing again. Here it is. If I go to make file, my cursor should move to that particular file, but it's not. it's not doing it because I guess no, it's fine. It's a follow path. That means I go to. Is my voice clear? Because mic is activated, so it's not a problem. So args. Let's open Filer. So we don't have any path. We don't have any path here as well. Let's go to make file. So this is the make files, and microphone volume is too low. Seriously? Okay, let me just double check it. It's at its maximum point, I guess. About now, just tell me, is my voice clear? Okay. Is my voice clear now? Let me also reduce this thing. Okay. Is my voice clear now? Just let me know. What distro? I'm using Arch. I'm using Arch, by the way. And this is the make file, and it should work. Why it's not working? For some reason, it's not working. If not file path, or if it is equals to 0, then we just simply refresh it. It's not running at all. Hello. Okay, not a single message. That means there is some problem with argument path. Okay, let's make file. It's true, but why? Why we have a buffer value here? That doesn't make any sense. Let's go in Finder, and in Finder we are passing the args as it is. Instead, we should use args.file like this, and this time it should work like that. So we have some problems, a lot of problems. So in find actions, a bad argument to a format 155. If not ID, then return, and so it doesn't have the safety guard before, but now we have it. There is no path. The path is follow current file. But why? We have a pattern matching for this. Okay, because instead of this, we should do this. We should do the data file instead of the direct file. So yeah, this is that. And actually, we can simply just pass the args.data. It will be much cleaner in that way. Let's do this. Let's do that. And now we are focusing the buffer without any problems. Let's remove this, not this one. Print ID. Also at line number 7, let's remove this. Let's try to focus a file again. It's working. And if I go to something very deep like cache, it's also working. And let's go bridge. So bridge, it's also working. And let's do again a config. It's also working. Let's go Selene. It's fine. Let's try to Lua require follow current file. Let's try to do this thing with a false argument, and the kind must be split leftmost. So if I do make file, it's not focusing it as I expected, but let's try to a this time we need it as true and split below. Let's just do the below. Okay, so we are focusing it, and if I try to open a gendoc, it focuses it. But why? Oh, why? Okay, because those are the same buffers. Yeah, because those are the same buffers. That command, okay, I do get it now. Because we do have, okay, fine. So let me just try something. If I go this. If I do this, leftmost, And if I try to do a below split and a below, let's have a height about 20%. Yeah, that will be fine. Or maybe just 30% height. And in 30% height, let's pass a directory, and the directory will be, let's say it's a home username work dot files. Yeah, let's open this thing out. And what if I go make file? It doesn't do anything. Like none of the file managers doesn't do anything. But if I try to go to NeoVim, my init.lua, it focuses this thing. That's a great thing. And this doesn't have to do anything with this Finder window. So both of these instances are different. That's a good thing. And if I try to go to config, it's not focuses here because it's not available here, and it's not going to focus here even because uh, this finder doesn't have enable the follow current file. Okay, I think that's all. If I could commit that thing if I wanted to, let's make things out. Okay, what do you guys think? Let's go here. It's completed. Remove. Remove to do. MD. So we added a couple of things. We have auto groups. And we have these finder specific. Let's try to take a look here. Follow current follow. Okay, so this is the action. Fine. And let me just G here, and so everything is conditional, and I already tested manually tested it, so it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. There is just one more thing that I haven't write any tests, so I'm only going to push this thing onto the upstream when I'm done with the done with writing tests. So I think that's it for now today. We successfully implemented both of the things. We converted all the include statement into require statements, and we also implement the follow current file feature. So all things done for this stream.